condition your vote for the genocidal cop on the genocidal cop stopping the genocide. You're not willing to organize to a sufficient degree to put enough pressure on her.
She's already shown a proclivity toward stopping the genocide. She's already shown pressure toward Netanyahu, okay? She's already shown that she's at least optically willing to engage with our side, which is better than what Biden did. If you can't take that, if that's not acceptable for you, you're the type of guy who would literally like be hanging off of a cliff by a branch, and when the branch snaps, you see another branch below you and you don't grab it. You cross your arms, you're like, this branch won't support me the way that I want it to. I won't grab it. It'll just snap again. I'd rather die. Like, that's you, dumbass. So there's this funny guy named Bad Empanada, and if you don't know who he is, I barely know who he is. I know that he's gotten into it with Vosh. He's a Vosh hater. I know that he is a tanky, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he's a self-ascribed tanky, which would be really cringe, but I know that he has some tanky tendencies, which you'll be able to see today. This is his channel right here. I think he describes himself as a leftist, but I'm not entirely sure. He's batshit insane. Okay, cool. So he's batshit insane, apparently, according to chat. I don't know a ton about him, but what I do know is that chat was really wanting me to go over one of his takes wherein he endorses Trump, which is very interesting because I wouldn't think that a leftist would ever endorse Trump for any reason whatsoever because Trump is a populist fascist, as many of you probably know. Hey, Alec, really cool about being an uncle. It is really fun. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All the joy, none of the responsibilities. Exactly. He's doxed and harassed multiple people. So I don't have proof on hand that he has doxed and harassed multiple people, but I am willing to take your word for it, Jazz Dog. But for the purposes of this segment, I do not have the evidence of that on hand, so that is alleged. He has allegedly doxed and harassed multiple people, according to Jazz Dog, who I unironically trust a lot. So I believe him. So Biden drops out. I endorse Trump for president 2024. Let's see what this take is all about.
So last week, I just gone about my business, doing a nice stream, having fun, talking about the Trump assassination, which waited until the end of my stream to almost get assassinated, which wasn't very nice of him. And then I end my stream, and Biden drops out the same fucking night. He drops out again.
Hell.
They're plotting against me. Joe Biden and Donald Trump are plotting against me to ensure that the things that I need to talk about on stream happen after I've already...
Pretty sure this is sarcasm. He wouldn't actually support Trump. It should still be interesting anyway. We'll see. He called it, I support Trump. We'll see.
Stop streaming every time, and I'm sick of it. I am so fucking sick of it. So now we have Kamala Harris, who is doing like a Hillary Clinton.
I actually just learned he's mispronouncing it. I was pronouncing it Kamala. It's pronounced Kamala. Dumbass!
It's in anyway. Sort of branding. Pokemon Go to the go to the
joke
polls,
being I also
2024.
it.
It's absolutely horrible. It's generally the worst thing I've ever seen. Everything about Kamala Harris, her campaign, the people who support her, give off even more secondhand embarrassment than Biden did when he was like fumbling all of his words and like forgetting where he was. Did you guys know that Kamala is brat? Oh my fucking god! The American impulse to like do everything.
How is Kamala worse than Biden, like in any capacity? I don't understand. Like so far, she's shown to be better than Biden at speaking, has more electability, is just more lively, you know? But even besides that, she's shown to be better than Biden on Israel, the Israel-Palestine thing, right? Brat? Yeah, I've seen that going around. The brat thing, I don't get it. Yeah, she does seem a lot better than Biden. She tried to run to the left of Biden in 2020, if I recall correctly.
Everything possible to whitewash someone actively committing genocide. They just can't help it. American liberals can't help it. I've never seen anything more indicative of the fact that any change in the world will happen fighting against Americans than with Americans than that. Americans simply cannot take a principled stand against anything. They cannot demand.
We've seen protests. Like, we've seen protests on college campuses, literally, that conservatives were, like, up in arms against. Conservatives and liberal conservatives, like the conservative-leaning liberals, were coming out in droves to, like, condemn these massive protests that were taking place. Public opinion in America is shifting against Israel. So I feel like this is a really doomer approach to this. Like, of course, there are still Americans that support Israel, and it might even be the majority. I have not looked at the polls or anything. But from my understanding, the zeitgeist is shifting.
and anything from their politicians.
Zionism is dying.
They don't care to. As long as they, they do the TikTok dance and they say the right, like, liberal sounding mumbles, they will.
Oh, what he's saying here, there is some truth to this. Like I've said, the presidency is a popularity contest. It always has been. It always will be.
Scold you for not enthusiastically voting for the genocidal cop. Americans cannot, they don't condition their votes on anything.
The genocidal cop, once again, she did call out Netanyahu, just like Lydia Nova's saying. She called him out. And she said, like, Netanyahu, what was, I don't know her exact words, so I'm paraphrasing. But essentially she said, we support Israel, but Netanyahu does have to push for a ceasefire.
Basically, Americans don't do politics. Americans have politics come to them. They have no political strategy. Not that they don't have a political strategy, it's that they're unwilling to do it because they just generally don't care about anyone aside from themselves and their friends. That's all they care about, even if they even care about their friends.
That's fine, but you can still work with that. You know what I mean? Like, let's say that that's true, that Kamala only cares about herself. You can still work with that. Like, she wants to win the election. And so she's going to appeal to the most popular ideas, which she's been doing. So we can still work with that. I'm fine working with that.
They're not even willing to exert political pressure. They're not willing to say, I'll vote for you, but only if you do this. They're only willing to say, I'm going to vote for you no matter what.
He's saying the voters. Wait, is he saying the voters only care about themselves? Yeah, he's saying sorry, I misunderstood. He's saying Americans only care about themselves. I mean, to an extent, but like right now, this rhetoric is really bad because you're going after the common man, the common person in America. You know what I mean? Like, you're going after the common voter rather than like the core of the problem, the actual rot. You're going after the symptom, not the rot. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's not good messaging, man.
To them. They have no political strategy. Not they don't have a political strategy, it's that they're unwilling to do it because they just generally don't care about anyone.
Like, even when other political activists and commentators talk about like voters not voting or like being really stupid and like complacent and whatever, they usually like leftist and progressive people usually attribute that to, capitalism, right? The conditions of capitalism, whereby people only care about themselves out of necessity because they're trying to survive day to day. Most Americans are just trying to meet every bill that they get, living paycheck. Like, I don't know if most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, but certainly a lot of them are. Most Americans don't have like $500 or $600 in the bank for an emergency. Like most Americans have some kind of financial crisis right now. Maybe not a serious one. Like, I'm in debt almost $100,000. It's not going to come at me tomorrow, and I'm chipping away at it. But like, I would consider that pretty bad financially. Like, most Americans are pretty bad financial straits. So that's why they usually only care about themselves. So you're going after the symptom, not the actual rot, is my point.
Aside from themselves and their friends. That's all they care about, even if they even care about their friends. So they're not even willing to exert political pressure. They're not willing to say, I'll vote for you, but only if you do this. They're only willing to say, I'm going to vote for you no matter what. Do literally anything you want. Kill as many kids.
Yes, I will vote for Kamala no matter what. I will vote for Kamala no matter what. Because the alternative is Trump. And Trump will kill more kids, okay? If you have a choice between, Kamala will allow for the death of 10 children or Trump will allow for the death of 100. One of them is going to be president at the end of the day, man. So I'm going with harm reduction. And you can stand on your laurels and say, oh, well, I don't think that you should kill any kids. At the end of the day, one of those two is going to be president, man. One of the two.
As in Palestine as you want, I will vote for you, babe. They don't do politics. They don't care to do politics. They take whatever they're given, they lap it up, and they lap it up enthusiastically.
He's so pissy.
They turn fucking Joe Biden into like an epic meme, like full supportive meme. Dark Brandon.
Listen, it's understandable to be this upset, right, at like the state of the current like voter populace. It's understandable. So I don't want to take away from that. But once again, you're misdirecting your anger, man. You should be angry at the conditions that led to this, not the voters themselves, okay? It's really important that we direct our anger appropriately as supposed leftists, like you claim to be.
Now doing it with Kamala Harris again, in, her own different way. Obviously, it's not the exact same meme, but
Kamala.
They try to claim that they are supporting these politicians reluctantly when they also make it very obvious at the same time that they're doing it enthusiastically. And at the end of the day, they simply do not actually care about what they do to people in the rest of the world. And that is why we need to stop treating Americans like they're people who we should win over to our side. The world will be improved by fighting against Americans, not by fighting with them. At this point...
That's really stupid, man. Of course you want Americans on your side. What the hell are you talking about? That's so stupid.
Callous indifference of Americans in general to the fact that the people who they enthusiastically vote for are doing genocide, and they can't even won't even try to demand the most basic of electoral of like electoral compromise from them. They're just taking what they...
Okay, here's the thing. If you fix the common person, like the common Americans' conditions, like their personal conditions, you have to meet them where they're at, man. So if you fix their conditions first, then they might be more inclined to care about other things. This is like taking somebody who's homeless and saying, did you know that trans people are actually under genocide right now? Which they are. Okay? You think that homeless person is going to care? Unless they're trans, of course. But do you think, let's say that it's a homeless white dude, cis white dude, right? Do you think he's going to care? Of course not. He's homeless. He has no time to care about that. He doesn't care because he's trying to like make ends meet. Okay? So failing that he's actually a trans guy or he has trans friends or whatever, which might be the case, more than likely, he's not going to give a about trans people because he's just trying to have his own needs met. And that's understandable. Okay? He might even be transphobic, but it's still understandable that he wouldn't give two shits and a about trans people because he's trying to make his own needs met. So if you meet his needs first, then maybe you can start convincing him. This whole like, oh, and giving up on Americans thing, what are you going to do? Declare war on him? Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, just declare war on America. See how that works for you.
They're given, they're lapping it up enthusiastically while posting epic tamales brat dancing TikToks. At that point, you have proven far beyond any doubt that you are the enemy. And quite honestly,
what?
If you get Donald Trump, perhaps you deserve him. Perhaps the downfall, the suffering, the destruction that he will cause to your country.
Okay, so he's doing the accelerationist take. Got it.
Precisely what you deserve and precisely what the rest of the world needs for your shithole genocidal country to finally decline, which would be the greatest thing to ever happen for the rest of the world in hundreds of years.
Okay, so yeah, he's going for the accelerationist take, which basically just means that he wants millions upon millions of people to suffer for like the sake of his revolution. Okay, go start the revolution, man. Go start it. Go join the what is it called? The counter. Sorry, not the counter. The Revolutionary Army or whatever it's called. I can't. There's a word for it, and I can't think of it. But go like try to start an insurgency and see how that works out for you. Otherwise, just stop bitching.
But Trump supports all.
Otherwise, you're just one of us, man.
Good. Maybe you deserve the bad.
Is he American or is he has kind of an accent? Where is he from? Does anybody know, like, I'm not trying to dox him, but like what country is he from? Is he an American or is he like British? Because if he's British, that's hilarious because your country's falling apart at the seams, man. You're like worse than America right now. He's Australian? Oh, gotcha. He lives in Argentina? Oh, okay, gotcha. I don't know much about Argentina or Australia, to be honest.
Bad things. Maybe the bad things for you are actually good for the rest of the world. You know how you always treat the suffering of the rest of the world as something that just needs to be ignored, while the policies that benefit you and your friends are what needs to actually be focused on. Well, I think the same way, except inverse. I don't care about anything.
This is just like whinging about how people aren't doing enough. Yeah, you're right, they're not. But like whinging about it and whining about it and pointing the finger at them is not going to help. It's not going to get them up off their asses and light a fire under their ass, man. It's just not. You know what will help? Meeting their basic needs, which is something that is more likely to happen under a liberal leadership than under a conservative one. Okay? You're picking your battleground. Everybody thinks this, right? Everybody thinks that like a vote for Kamala Harris is a complete endorsement of everything that she stands for, when that's simply not the case. When you vote for the president or for any position of power, what you are doing, I need you guys to reframe this in your brains if you haven't already. And especially if you're having conflict about voting for a liberal, okay? What you're doing is you're picking your battleground. Okay, you're picking your battleground. Would you rather have a liberal battleground or a conservative battleground? Okay, this is strategy. If you really want to like do this on like a communist level, whatever, if you're really a communist or an anarchist or whatever, you have to strategize. It is so much easier to organize and to push for progressive policies like universal basic income, like Medicare for all, like homes for the homeless, right? Like a universal housing program, stuff like that. It is so much easier to push for all of those things on a liberal battleground than on a conservative one. Insanely easier. Okay? So you're just shooting yourself in the foot if you really do care about the things you say you care about by either allowing Trump to win or even helping Trump win. So f*** you, man.
Anything except the things that the USA does that affect people internationally. I don't care about Donald Trump's policies that hurt you and your friends.
Wow.
So as far as...
Just come out and say it. Hey, f*** you too, man. I don't give a shit about you, but I do give a shit about your friends at least. You know what I mean? You know what? I take that back. I do give a shit about you. Even with your dog shit opinions, I think I'm more leftist than you. You know why? Because I think even with your dog shit opinions, I think you still deserve a house. I think you still deserve food on the table and a roof over your head. I still think you deserve free healthcare. I still think you deserve all these things even with your dog shit opinions. So f*** you.
As far as I'm concerned, they're both the exact same. You get Trump? Honestly, f*** yeah. Trump's going to ruin your country on the international stage. It's going to be awesome. The second there is anything resembling like a global revolution or like a globe-spanning conflict, the average like watermelon.
The second there's a global revolution, you're going to be first on the front lines, right? Right, buddy? Right, buddy? Right, buddy? Right. You're going to be the first one. You're going to load up, strap up, boys. You're going to be front line, right? Up against the tanks that the U.S. will roll in, right? You'll be the first on the chopping block, right? Right, buddy? Right, buddy? Right, bad empanada? Of course you won't. You're pussy. You're a pussy, man. Of course you won't. Look at you.
Username. I swear I support Palestine.
No shot.
Somehow cannot vote against Palestinian genocide. Liberal is going to voluntarily sign up for the military and go and shoot brown people firsthand. Can't trust them. Maybe a bit of Trump is what they need over there. Maybe a bit of Trump is what they deserve. Maybe a bit of Trump is what the rest of us need. Because Trump will be a disaster.
Sure.
Not just for you, but for your country's power in the world, for your country's prestige in the world. And you know what? I'm all here for it. I'm here for it. You don't care about me and everyone else in the world who's not an American? Whoop. I don't care about you then. The fact that like the American...
I just said I care about you. F you, though.
Electoral political engagement, even within the spectrum of electoral politics, they're just pathetic. They do nothing. It would be so easy, if they actually cared, to organize a movement to condition their vote on immediately stopping the genocide in Palestine. It would be really easy to get the Democrats scared about that. But it would require organization. It would require actually having...
Yeah, you're right. So if you care so much about the Palestinians, come move here, right? Because you understand that America is the primary country funding Israel, right? So you move here and start organizing. You move here and start organizing that process of getting people to withhold their votes unless they flat out are against Israeli apartheid. Oh, you won't do that? Oh, that's too hard for you? But guess what's not too hard, right? Is a revolution. Right, man? So pathetic.
Principles. It would require being willing to take real action, just by maybe not voting, or at least threatening not to vote. They won't even do that. They happily announce months beforehand that they will vote blue no matter who. They can do anything they want, and they will vote for them anyway. They ensure that there is absolutely even less of an incentive than there would be otherwise for them to change what they're doing, for them to change course. The most basic milquetoast political...
Politicians are still beholden to the opinions of their constituents, even if they know that their constituents will ultimately vote for them. They still have to give them some reasons to vote for them. Because if Kamala Harris came out tomorrow and just had Trump's platform and just said, hey, actually I'm fine. She did her like her hearty laugh, and she was like, I'm actually fine with Project 2025. Guess what? She would lose the votes because it wouldn't matter. The more good things you do, the more you galvanize the average voter, okay? Like, by the way, what he's saying is wrong. Like, voters have been galvanized by Kamala Harris and her running, Like, the average voter is very stupid, don't get me wrong. They vote on optics, right? And that's why you have so many more voters coming out in favor of Kamala than you do in favor of Biden. But all that being said, like... knowing that, they still have to appeal to their base with good policies. And they do. They demonstrably do. Kamala has appealed to the base. She doesn't have a platform yet, but she actually has come out in favor of a ceasefire and pressured a little bit, not much, but a little bit, Netanyahu towards a ceasefire, okay? This whole video is a meltdown. I agree. So she has been listening. Some of these politicians do care, all right? And I'm not saying that Kamala is like perfect or anything, but some of these politicians do care a little bit about some things, all right? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, if like you're just an accelerationist. You just want bad things to happen to people that you feel haven't done enough in your eyes. Even dictators take the will of the people into account. Exactly. No matter who assumes the Republicans are worse than the Democrats, it's not literally no matter what. But as long as they're better than Republicans, and they really, really are, then you should vote for them. Yeah, we're constantly moving. What is it called? The something window. But I always forget the name of it. Something window. Help me out, chat. The Overton window. Thank you. We're constantly moving the Overton window left. Okay, and that's happened throughout history. You can look back at the Overton window and the way that it has shifted leftward gradually over time to be more and more progressive. We have gay marriage now. There's a whole like trans outrage right now, but that's going to die down. I promise you. It will die down. It has to, the public just has not bit down on that. So it's going to die down. The Overton window shifts more and more and more left. You never heard of it? So the Overton window essentially refers to, so you have the political compass, right? The Overton window is like a space within the political compass wherein you have like the extreme left of the Overton window and the extreme right of the Overton window, and where that window sits and how big it is dependent on current political conditions. So for instance, the Overton window would have been like in the times of like chattel slavery in America, it would have been like way on the left to be completely in favor of black people having equal rights to white people. Like that would have been way left on the Overton window. But today, that's pretty central. That's pretty central. Like that's a centrist position is that black people, well, not anymore, but I digress. Essentially, it's a centrist position, a normal position, mind you, that black people ought to have equal rights to white people. So that's not considered progressive anymore. That's just like basic. So that's what we mean when we say the Overton window. And it's constantly shifting toward the left over time. Unless you let accelerationism take over, at which point you would need a revolution. And some people believe that revolution is the only answer. I don't think that's the case. I don't. Okay? And even if it were, I'd rather push that off as long as possible, to be honest with you. Because I certainly don't want to participate in a revolution, or my kids for that matter, when I have them. My nephew, I have a nephew. I wouldn't want him to be in the revolution. Lives are lost, okay? Sometimes thousands, millions. So maybe let's not do that. Like, if you really do care about people dying, here's the thing, like, you don't give a shit about people. Like, you claim to care about Palestinians, but I don't even believe you care about them, because you can't care about, like, the lives of like, other citizens. Just because they have it better, like, you just claim that their lives don't matter as much as the Palestinians' lives. All lives matter. Okay, oh God, don't clip that. But all lives are important is my point. So if you can't care about the average American, then I can't really trust you to care about the average Palestinian.
Action of, I will support you if you do this.
All lives matter.
Them. They do nothing. And if that's too much to ask of them, well, honestly, I'm telling my viewers right here, vote for Donald Trump. Vote for Donald Trump. I want you to vote for Donald Trump, because that is what Americans deserve. If they are unwilling to even...
How many views does this video have? 14K. Cool, man. You're telling 14K people you've now told to vote for Donald Trump. Good job.
Ask the most basics of the Democratic Party. If they are unwilling to say, okay, Kamala, despite you being a cop, despite you being a piece of shit, as long as you pledge to end the genocide, to take real action against Israel, the second that you are sworn in, I will vote. I'll vote 10 times for you. I'll do electoral fraud for you, baby. I don't care. If you're not willing to just say that, if you're not willing to condition your vote on that one thing, no matter, you're just so callous.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to drop a really hot take right now, and it's going to be sizzling, I promise you. Palestine's not the only issue right now. It's really not, okay? Domestically, trans children are dying because of conservative policies, all right? It's not nearly in the numbers, and it's not nearly as brutal, but it is happening, okay? And I care about Palestine. I do. I really wish that Netanyahu would stop his bullshit over there, but it is not the only issue that exists. I'm so tired of leftists thinking that the only issue that exists is Palestine. It's not, all right? Domestically, issues matter as well. Domestic policy matters. So even if we did have another Biden and he would do nothing different in Palestine from what Trump would do, guess what he would do? Better domestic policy. It's called harm reduction. It's called being pragmatic. You have no sense of being pragmatic. You have no sense of picking your battles, of minimizing the conflict as much as you possibly can until you get somebody in office who actually does give a shit about Palestine. You have no sense of that. You're a moron. You're brainlet with a sub 50 IQ. You're a troglodyte, an amoeba. You're like a little amoeba swimming around, constantly trying to like galvanize people to your side so you can infect an entire group of people into thinking your horrific ideas. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And I still think that you deserve basic rights because I'm not a freak like you are. But you.
So hateful, such a piece of shit that honestly, make America horrible. MAH. No third. Yeah, it doesn't really work. There's not, Maha.
I care about Palestine. No, the you don't. Shove it up your ass.
America horrible again? Well, I guess it's
go to the front lines if you care so much. Go to the front lines.
But Americans, you should strategically vote for Donald Trump to make yourself suffer more. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Americans.
He cares about Palestine so much, he's sitting in his air-conditioned little office, right? With his expensive-ass microphone and headset and computer setup, so that he can bitch about how people should vote for Donald Trump, who will objectively be worse for Palestine. That's how much he cares about. That's how much he gives a shit about Palestine, right? You, bad empanada. You.
Vote against yourselves. Vote against your own interests. Vote for your own suffering. Honestly, vote for fucking RFK. Vote for RFK. Even worse. At this point, I don't care. It's so simple to be like, okay, let's create like a block of like a few million people who will play.
He talks a big game for someone out of draft range. Dude, you don't even live in the U.S. Stay the fuck out of my elections.
To not vote for you unless you do X. That's how you put political pressure on the candidate to do X. They won't do that. They literally say like, or they already said like 1 or 2 years ago, I'm voting blue no matter who doesn't matter what. And anyone who doesn't, I hate them so much. I hate them. If that's you,
let's
you deserve
go.
Trump. You deserve Trump. It really is that simple. At the end of the day, it's people who
I deserve Trump, I guess,
to be for the things that they claim to be for. The reason why they vote for the Democrats is simply because the Democrats benefit them. They do things that make them feel comfy. They don't want more than what the Democrats do. They don't want to organize.
Yes, you know what we should do, because Democrats only do the things that make them feel comfy, is make them like as uncomfortable as possible. That'll galvanize them towards our side, right? Right, man, right, man, right. That'll make them want to be more progressive, right, man, right. That's a good idea.
In the Democratic Party, they don't want to push the Democratic Party left. All they want to do is pop up every election cycle and try to shame others into voting for the Democrats no matter what, and they disappear. Next election cycle, they show up again and try to do the same. It's happened, you know, most of you should be old enough to have seen this happen 3 times in a row now. You deserve Trump at this point. You deserve him. If you want to prove you don't deserve him, well, you got 2028. In 2028, there's your chance to actually fucking organize. Do something to stifle your country's disgusting acts all around.
Here's my call to action. Just to spite bad empanada, for no other reason, just to spite this asshole, go vote for Kamala. Go vote for Kamala, just to spite him, because I hate him.
On the world, which have currently killed at least 200.
Here's the thing. I feel like in many ways, I respect less an accelerationist progressive than I do a conservative. I respect them less because I feel like the average conservative is like too stupid to understand what's going on, you know? But the average progressive, the average left, quote unquote leftist, should be cognizant enough of the material conditions in order to understand that, yes, a liberal is better than a conservative for a myriad of reasons, including Palestine, including but not limited to Palestine, okay? If you want things to get better in Palestine, guess who's not going to make that better, sweetie? It's Trump. It's Trump, okay? If you really actually do give a single solitary fuck about Palestine, you will not be telling your audience to vote Trump. Fuck you, man. You don't care about Palestinians. You don't give a shit about Palestinians. Disgusting. Disgusting worm.
It's obvious at this point.
Hiding behind the Palestinian people, hiding your accelerationist policies behind the Palestinian people who are experiencing a goddamn genocide. How dare you? Why don't you go there yourself? Go to Palestine. Go to Palestine. If you care so much about Palestine, go there.
And then once they're in office, you're going to do nothing but support them wholeheartedly. Not just support them, you're going to like turn them into like an epic meme, like a super hyper positive meme, like they're some sort of Jesus Christ-like figure. And I've had it. It's done. I've had it with you. The rest of the world has had it with you. Whatever happens to you, perhaps you just deserve it. It's that simple. You can't condition your vote for the genocidal cop on the genocidal cop stopping the genocide. You're not willing to organize to a sufficient degree to put enough pressure on her.
She's already shown a proclivity toward stopping the genocide. She's already shown pressure toward Netanyahu, okay? She's already shown that she's at least optically willing to engage with our side, which is better than what Biden did. If you can't take that, if that's not acceptable for you, you're the type of guy who would literally like be hanging off of a cliff by a branch, and when the branch snaps, you see another branch below you and you don't grab it. You cross your arms, you're like, this branch won't support me the way that I want it to. I won't grab it. It'll just snap again. I'd rather die. Like, that's you, dumbass.
Where she will actually make some sort of concrete pledge to stop Israel in some way, then
hello, Biggity Dog.
Simply,
welcome.
I don't see why anyone else should give a shit about you either. At the end of the day, it's not just that either. It's not just like this tit-for-tat exchange because
why should I give a shit about you, man? What have you done?
Not doing that, you hurt them.
What have you done except tell your audience to vote for the person who will objectively be worse for the Palestinians? Fuck off.
You're causing them pain, suffering, death. They're not doing anything negative to you. So for you to
no, okay, that's such BS, man. The average American person is not causing pain and suffering and death to the people in Palestine. That's not their fault. And that's horrific messaging if you want to pull people over to your side. When I first joined the progressive left, like leftism, you know, and I almost became a tanky, whatever, I had like this deep-seated guilt about like going to McDonald's or about like supporting Starbucks or whatever, you know what I mean? Like they like, it's like a cult. It's like they literally inject this guilt into you when you're just trying to live your goddamn life because like you felt bad about supporting quote unquote these organizations. And yeah, sure you are, but those organizations are literally built so that they consume you. You have no choice but to support them. It's called no ethical consumption under capitalism, man. And right now, people's tax dollars are in fact going towards Netanyahu's genocide. That is true, all right? What the fuck am I gonna do? Not pay my taxes? Guess what? If I do that, I go to jail. I'd rather not go to jail, man. I deserve a good life too, just as much as Palestinians do. I'm sorry, that's just true. My life is not worth less than theirs, okay? It's simply not. So I'm going to take care of myself first, and in that way, it's more pragmatic anyway, because I get to sit here. Let's say that I didn't pay my taxes. Guess what happens? I go to jail. And then I can't sit here with my audience, right? My audience, it's about as big as yours, and tell them, hey, you guys should support Palestine. You guys should be telling your politicians not to support Israel and to send more money to Palestine and aid them, and tell Netanyahu, his disgusting genocidal ass, to stop. You should be pressuring them. You should be. You should be. Okay? Call them. Annoy them. Make their phones ring off the hook. Show up at places where you won't get in trouble for showing up, right? Like, annoy the shit out of them. Seriously, do it. Like, if you have the opportunity, go annoy your politicians and tell them to annoy the people above them and so on to stop supporting the genocide in Palestine. And I can tell you to do that. Guess why? Because I pay my taxes and I'm not in jail, dipshit. If I didn't pay my taxes, sure, my measly amount of money wouldn't go toward their genocide, but then guess what? Nothing changes. At least here, I can actually affect some change, okay? So shut the fuck up. The only change you're affecting is telling people to vote for Trump. You would literally be doing more if you went to the front lines in Palestine. I suggest you go there.
To like come out and be like, how dare you?
Then you can actually help them.
So do you support Trump? When you're the one actively hurting them through your inaction is disgusting.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Piss on it. Go piss on it.
Elections in a row.
Shove it up your ass.
If you haven't learned by now that they don't mean.
You're literally hurting the Palestinians.
We're way further left than we're letting on. But, you know, we're super far left just like you. It's just that we have to reluctantly vote for
No,
this
you're not far left.
now.
You're literally conservative. You're telling people to vote for Trump.
Once the threat of the fascism is
you
gone,
want Trump to win, you're conservative.
Real action. And the threat of fascism isn't gone.
Real action, like voting for Trump.
It's better than ever.
Right?
Liberals enabling fascism.
Real action, like voting for Trump, right, man?
Nothing ever. The way to stop fascism is to organize something
is to allow it,
not to vote for it.
The way to stop fascism is to let it take over in the United States, actually, if you really think about it. Oh, that's big brain time. Big brain time,
like,
baby.
90% Hitler over and over again to avoid 100% Hitler. Like,
yes, I will. What 10 times out of 10, 100 times out of 100, and 1,000 times out of 1,000. If it's between 99.9% Hitler and 100% Hitler, I will take 99.9% Hitler. Okay? If somebody tells me, hey, if I'm chained up in a basement, and somebody tells me, hey, here's your 2 plates. On this plate, you have 5 grams of shit that you must eat. On this plate, you have 5 kilograms of shit that you must eat. Guess what? I'm eating the 5 grams. Okay? Because I'm not a moron like you are.
Or to at least actually use your collective political power to
he has to be
on 90% Hitler to be 80% Hitler. But if you can't even do that, you've had 8 years to build something alternative. You haven't done it. You haven't even tried. You've actively bullied others.
What have you done? What have you done? I'd love to see your record, man. Let's see it.
Not doing it.
Apparently you dox people. That's what you do.
That is around the corner for you because you've done nothing to fight it. Even
Allegedly.
Though you know fully well how to. That's the end. America, number 0. Boo.
What a disgusting worm. Thank you, man. Seriously. I think I've said all I need to.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.